Tuesdays.
Here are the top stories of the news. Senate convenes emergency session over CBN Amendment Act orders. President Muhammadu Buhari lauds Navy's contribution to end Nigeria's internal security challenges. On the foreign scene, Chinese aircraft carrier Shandong this morning sailed through the Taiwan Strait. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Westernspring Television. My name is Tunde Ido. With the presidential inauguration just 2 days away, the Senate is convening an emergency session. It is unclear at the moment what the upper chamber intends to handle during this session. Lawmakers are gradually trickling into the chamber, but at the time of this report, the Senate president is yet to arrive. This is the second time in the 9th Senate that an emergency session is convened. The first was during the COVID-19 pandemic to approve funds to address the pandemic. From the just released order paper, the major proposed legislations for consideration today are the 2022 Supplementary Budget Amendment Bill and the CBN Act Amendment Bill. To security matters, the Oyo State Police Command has warned against the possession of unauthorized firearms and weapons during the second-term inauguration of the state governor Seyi Makinde and his deputy Bayo Lawal on Monday, May 29th. It further warned that defaulters risk heavy sanctions and prosecutions no matter how highly placed in the society. In a statement this morning by its spokesperson Adewale Oshifeso, the command said only accredited security agents will be allowed to carry weapons at Liberty Stadium, the venue of the inauguration and its environs. He further assured that adequate personnel have been detailed to protect the length and breadth of the state, including major roads, highways, airports, critical infrastructure, and boundaries in and out of the state. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has lauded the contribution and operational support of the Nigerian Navy to end internal security challenges in the country. President Buhari made the commendation virtually whilst superintending the commissioning of Nigerian Navy Logistic College, Dawan Kim Tofa Kano. He noted that the effective conduct of the Nigerian Navy, along with other security agencies in the management of internal security, has significantly improved security in the country. The president commended the Chief of Naval Staff and his team with the level of infrastructural development and partnership with other institutions. He further added that the college will no doubt enhance intelligence opportunity in the management of logistics operations. Away from security, President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday took the President-elect Bola Tinubu on a familiarization tour of the presidential villa Abuja. Buhari and Tinubu arrived at the press gallery at around 1:18 p.m. shortly after observing the Juma prayer at the Aso Villa Mosque. This comes barely 24 hours after the president conferred upon Tinubu the national honor of Grand Commander of the Federal Republic and Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger on Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima at the State House Banquet Hall. On Thursday, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo had taken Shettima on a tour of the VP wing of the State House. Both leaders exchanged documents ahead of the official handover of power on Monday.
Nigeria, we need to change. And change, we have to. Change our mindset. Let's be poor. Breathe. Don't suffocate them. We have that responsibility.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday in Abuja received copies of his asset declaration form at the State House. Buhari received the form from a delegation of the Code of Conduct Bureau led by its chairman, Issa Mohammed, who arrived at the Aso Rock Villa yesterday. This is in compliance with the provision of the 1999 Constitution, which mandates all public officers to declare their assets and liabilities on the assumption of office and at the end of their tenure. The President-elect Bola Tinubu, the Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima, and 28 incoming governors and their cabinet members, as well as the State Assembly members, are also expected to submit their asset forms to the CCB.
All I will do now is to get my bank manager from Kaduna to use the latest bank account so that it will show what has gone in since I came. It's up to the system to follow up to make sure from vice friends downwards, everybody that is going has filled out his form as he did or she did when they came in.
As the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari winds up, it is important to note if he has delivered his promise of restructuring the country. In this report, Olayinka Ali looks into Buhari's reconstruction agenda.
As the administration of the Muhammadu Buhari winds down in about 72 hours, it is important to look at the motive behind Buhari's decision to restructure Nigeria towards the closing stage of his administration and note if he actually did reconstruct the country. Nigeria is still seriously challenged by crises of unemployment, corruption, insecurity, lack of basic infrastructure, giving ethno-religious coloration to critical national issues and general problem of good governance. 62 years after independence, for a number of Nigerians, the world is one of seeming hopelessness and helplessness and a picture of what democracy deficits portends. The Afenifere group, in one of their publications, regretted that President Muhammadu Buhari-led All Progressives Congress APC federal government lost the opportunity to make Nigeria a modern state of true federation. A chat with barrister Olukayode Amos gave an insight to whether Buhari fulfilled his promises on restructuring the country or not. In his opinion, Buhari only gave a bailout and nothing more, insisting that it could have been better.
In terms of restructuring, whether economic, political, or otherwise, he has not fulfilled his promises. More so that people are actually agitating for a new constitution. But what he was doing, he has been doing, and is still doing, is piecemeal amendment of the Constitution of Nigeria, which has not met the yearnings of Nigerians. The federal government is still overloaded in terms of their preoccupation. There are so many agencies that are just duplicitous and duplicating the duties of the federal government. The Orosaye report said that some of these agencies will be merged so that to reduce the cost of governance. But up to now, they have not done anything on that.
A member of the Osun Third Force, a non-governmental organization, Makinde Akin Maxwell, stated that Buhari failed to restructure Nigeria despite promising Nigerians when he was campaigning in 2015. Akin Maxwell, in his opinion, feels Buhari deceived Nigerians into voting for him.
We all believe that President Muhammadu Buhari is going to do well in 2015 when we voted him in, because he made a lot of promises that restructuring is going to be one of his cardinal points that's going to work on, and that is exactly why Nigerians voted for him. But he denied Nigerians of good governance, because restructuring is number one, which the former presidents Obasanjo, Yaradua, Jonathan wanted to do, but they failed to do it. So he uses that as a hit point for Nigerians to vote for him then. And when they were campaigning, the new elected president, who is arrowhead of the campaign for Buhari in 2015, promises Nigerians a whole lot of things, including restructuring, but he fails to do it. Even as at the time he's packing up from the 8 years term, he fails to do it. What he's doing now is just a kangaroo appointment and bill signing, which is not even going to help Nigerians. It's unfortunate that the man fails Nigeria by not restructuring.
Nigerians insisted the country is an unjust and suffocating system that must be restructured if it must progress. Olayinka Ali, Westernspring Television News.
Meanwhile, Benue State Governor Samuel Othom has described the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari as the worst in the history of Nigeria. He said the outgoing president must be told that he failed woefully and Nigerians are feeling the impact of his failure because we are all suffering. Speaking at the commissioning of the headquarters of the Benue State Community Volunteers Guards, BSCVGs in Makurdi, the governor stated that the president took Nigeria from the top to the bottom, making life miserable for all Nigerians. He noted that the president plunged the country into unimaginable poverty and insecurity, unlike what used to flourish under his predecessor, Goodluck Jonathan. He added that the fact is that never in the history of the country did Nigerians experience this kind of bad governance in the country. Moving on, the Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima says the administration of his principal, Bola Tinubu, may not be off to a rosy start. Both Tinubu and Shettima are expected to be sworn in on Monday, signaling the end of the administration of outgoing President Muhammadu Buhari after the completion of 2 4-year terms. Shettima, in an address delivered yesterday at the 2023 presidential inauguration public lecture at the National Mosque Abuja, assured Nigerians that Tinubu will hit the ground running. According to him, the incoming administration does not have the luxury of time as the challenges facing the nation are enormous. Meanwhile, the secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, who was also at the event, called on Nigerians to cooperate with the soon-to-be inaugurated leaders to enable them to transform the country for good.
About the fact that Nigeria is the only country we have, and that we must work together to develop it into our desired nation.
We're all hopefully expecting this government to come in and hit the ground running with full steam. And we know the slogan of the incoming president had been renewed hope. So that gives us hope to hope for the best. Nigeria needs to wake up. Inshallah, we are calling on all of you to pray for us, for Allah's guidance, for wisdom, and for protection. I want to reassure you that Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will hit the ground running from day one.
Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, said the Supreme Court's dismissal of the case of the PDP against Kashim Shettima is not a setback to his quest for justice. Atiku, who made this comment yesterday via his official Twitter page, said the party's legal team are informed to prove that the election of February 25th was fraudulent and did not comply with the constitutional requirements and the electoral guidelines of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The PDP flag bearer added that the announced winner was not even qualified to contest the poll. Earlier, the Supreme Court had dismissed the suit by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, challenging the alleged double nomination of the Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima. Elsewhere, the governor of Anambra State, Chukwuma Soludo, says he will shift attention to the incoming government of Bola Tinubu if his appeal for the release of the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, is not granted by President Muhammadu Buhari. Soludo has repeatedly appealed to President Buhari to release Kanu, who has been in the custody of the Department of State Services, DSS, since his arrest in July 2021. Speaking in a news charge yesterday, Governor Soludo said the call for Kanu's release is a cause he believes in. Asked what his interest in seeking Kanu's release is, the governor said it is about long-term sustainable peace and security, as well as the development of the Southeast region. He also lamented the sit-at-home being observed in the Southeast every Monday, which he claimed Kanu supporters introduced as a way to press for his release, added that the zone has lost a humongous amount in economic terms due to the persistent sit-at-home. You're watching Spring News at 12 on Westernspring Television. We'll be right back after the break.
as Ekiti-Parapa War was waged among Yoruba main ethnic groups which emerged from the ruins of the falling Oyo Empire that were desperate to replace the awesome powers hitherto wielded by the Alaafin of Oyo. The Kiriji Wars, defined as a conflict of confederacy and unitary political system championed by Yorubas of different socio-economic and political interests. The Ibadan military aristocrats felt they deserved a dominant position for saving Yoruba land from being totally submerged by the Fulanis by their victory in Oshobo War of 1840 and Ijaye War of 1862. Kiriji War, that took its name from the booming motor sounds of European arms festered for so long because the Industrial Revolution in Europe provoked high standards of slaves. The 16-year Civil War also caused the emergence of new powerful kingdoms like Ibadan and the rise of powerful personalities like Oluyole, Ogumola, Koromi, Latosha, Shodeke, Fabumi, and Ogedengbe. One of the fallouts of Kiriji War was the birth of creative political and leadership structure in Yoruba land that was a blend of federalism and autocratic monarchical system. Westernspring Television identifies Kiriji War as a watershed event.
Thank you for staying with us. You're welcome back. In Oyo State, Governor Seyi Makinde has ordered the immediate dissolution of the management and board of Ladoke Akintola University Teaching Hospital of Bomosho. The chairman, Transition and Inauguration Committee, Segun Ogunwuyi, made this disclosure in a statement yesterday. He therefore directed them to submit all government property in their possession to the committee. Mr. Ogunwuyi stated that the governor appreciated their contributions to the development of the state and wishes them success in their future endeavors. To legal matters, former Petroleum Resources Minister Diezani Alison Maduke has sued the Attorney General of the Federation and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, for alleged libel. She is demanding 100 billion naira to be paid to her in damages, according to a writ of summons filed on her behalf at the Federal High Court Abuja by her team of lawyers led by Mike Oziekome, SAN. In the writ of summons dated May 26, 2023, the former minister is also demanding that the EFCC and AGF apologize to her in 3 national dailies over what she described as the false, injurious, malicious, and libelous publications against her since she left the country in 2015. Both the EFCC and the AGF were given 14 days from the service of the summons to enter their defense. The State High Court sitting in Edo yesterday dismissed the notice of suspension issued against the embattled national chairman of the Labour Party, Julius Abure, by some party members at the ward level. Justice Emmanuel Aimoje threw out the case for lacking merit. This was contained in a statement issued in Abuja yesterday by the acting National Publicity Secretary of the party, Obiora Ifo, who also confirmed that the action was filed by Abure and was filed by Abure and the executive of Labour Party, Ward 3 in Esa, northeast of Edo State. In his judgment, Aimoje judged that the party ward executive in Uromi in Ward 3 lacked the power under the Labour Party constitution to remove the national chairman of the party. The judge in the suit went ahead to impose perpetual injunction against Lamidi Apapa and his faction from removing or suspending Abure as a national chairman until a new national convention of the party is convened. In other news, an airplane belonging to the proposed national carrier, Nigeria Air, has landed at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. The airplane was seen moving in a video posted by the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, on his verified Twitter handle yesterday. The development is part of plans to commence operations and unveiling of the delivery process after years of delay. In March, Sirika had said the airline will start operations before the end of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. According to him, the federal government is leaving the aviation sector better than it met it, having achieved over 90% of the aviation sector roadmap. On the foreign scene, the Chinese aircraft carrier Shandong sailed through the Taiwan Strait this morning, accompanied by 2 other ships in the latest uptick in military tensions over the island Beijing claims as its own territory. Taiwan's defense ministry said the Shandong, commissioned in 2019, had sailed in a northerly direction around midday through the strait, sticking to its median line, which serves as an unofficial barrier between the two sides. The ministry, in a statement, stated that the Taiwanese military closely monitored the group using its own ship and aircraft. The Shandong participated in Chinese military drills around Taiwan last month, operated in the Western Pacific. To the Russia-Ukraine war, Ukraine is ready to launch its long-expected counteroffensive against Russian forces, one of the country's most senior security officials has told the BBC. Oleksiy Danilov will not name a date, but said an assault to retake territory from President Vladimir Putin's occupying forces could begin tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, or in a week. He warned that Ukraine's government had no right to make a mistake on the decision because this was an historic opportunity that they could not afford to lose. As Secretary of the National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine, Mr. Danilov is at the heart of President Volodymyr Zelensky's de facto war cabinet. Meanwhile, Russia has dismissed criticism from U.S. President Joe Biden over Moscow's plan to deploy tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus, saying Washington had for decades deployed such nuclear weapons in Europe. Russia had on Thursday said it was pushing ahead with the first deployment of such weapons outside its borders since the 1991 fall of the Soviet Union, and Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko said the weapons were already on the move. Mr. Biden, reacting to the report on Friday, said he had an extremely negative reaction to the report, while the U.S. State Department denounced the Russian nuclear deployment plan. However, Russia's embassy in the United States said in a statement it is the sovereign right of Moscow and Belarus to ensure their security by means deemed necessary. The consulate said the measures undertaken are fully consistent with Russia's international legal obligations. And talking sports, Valencia's punishment following the racist abuse of Real Madrid forward Vinicius Jr. has been reduced on appeal. The partial closure of the La Liga club's Mestalla Stadium has been reduced from 5 to 3 matches, and their fine has been cut from 45,000 euros to 27,000 euros after the Spanish Football Federation Appeals Committee said it had decided to partially uphold Valencia's appeal. Brazil's Vinicius, 22, was subjected to racist chant from the crowd. Spanish police have detained the 3 people in connection with the abuse, and Real Madrid, who said it constituted a hate crime, have reported it to the Spanish prosecutor's office. And away from football, WBC World Heavyweight Champion Tyson Fury says he wants to fight fellow Briton Anthony Joshua at Wembley in September and has sent him a contract. Fury, 34, has not fought since stopping Derek Chisora in the 10th round at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in December. A fight with Alexander Usyk, the IBF, IBO, WBO, and WBA champion, was expected to happen in 2023, but fell through. Fury, in a post on Instagram, said he had a few days ago sent a draft contract to Anthony Joshua for a fight in September at Wembley. Briton Fury added that it was a fight everyone wants to see, including himself. But Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, said no contract had been sent to his team.
Fight that everyone wants to see. A few days ago, I sent...
Oh, you said I got sent, yeah.
No, I sent...
No, it hasn't. No.
I sent a draft contract to Anthony Joshua. Are you saying that's inaccurate?
Absolutely. No contract been sent to Anthony Joshua.
Okay. So is this just Tyson just writing this, is what you're saying?
Yeah, no, maybe he thinks one has, but they definitely reached out.
Could he been told that that was the case?
No idea. I mean, when I saw that post, I called George Warren straight away. and said, what's this? And George Warren said, no, he hasn't been sent a contract. But they have reached out to me to discuss the fight, but no contract's been sent. We're being told by Saudi Arabia that deal is on the verge of being closed, but we'll see. We'll see. We're not closing the door to a Tyson Fury fight. We're just going to make sure that Anthony Joshua's career goes according to plan and smoothly and not messed around by other people. But like I said, talking to George Warren on a regular basis, happy to explore.
Before we end the news, here is a recap of our top stories. With the presidential inauguration just 2 days away, the Senate is convening an emergency session. President Muhammadu Buhari has lauded the contribution and operational support of the Nigerian Navy to end internal security challenges in the country. On the foreign scene, the Chinese aircraft carrier Shandong sailed through the Taiwan Strait this morning, accompanied by 2 other ships. You can follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Westernspring Television. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Westernspring Television. That ends Spring News at 12. I am Sunday Ido. Good afternoon.